Good morning, everyone. Welcome to WisTech webinar number 3 for 2025. And today I am very excited about our topic as we learn more about working with tribal members with disabilities. And just a few things of housekeeping while the rest of our attendees are joining. So this is a webinar platform, which means that your cameras and your microphones are automatically off. We will be using the chat and the Q&A, primarily chat to ask some questions and any interaction you'd like to have or examples of work that you are doing. We will be archiving this on our WisTech YouTube channel. We do have sign language interpreters as well as closed captioning available. You can access closed captioning by using the menu button at the bottom. And we will be also offering CRC credit and CEUs. Now, at the conclusion of this webinar, you will see a survey pop up. And if you're wanting the CRCs and CEUs, we'll ask that you complete that so we can get your information. And if you happen to miss the survey at the end of the webinar, you will also get another chance tomorrow in your email when an automatic reminder comes out from Zoom. And the CRC and CEU certificates are sent out within 30 days. So if it's after 30 days and you have not received it and you expect to receive it, feel free to reach out with any questions. So I am going to go ahead and get us started with our content. So wanted to welcome Wayne and Leighann, our key presenters today, as well as Lee from Northern Arizona University. So Wayne Dagel is with Northern Arizona University, the WisTech program, and I'll have him explain a little more about the program that he manages. Lee is also with the WisTech program. And then Leighann Granados is with Indigo, which is an independent living center and a WisTech partner in Superior, Wisconsin, sort of serving Northwest Wisconsin. So very excited to hear some different perspectives from a national and local level today regarding working with our tribal members. So thank you very much for your time today, for sharing your knowledge. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Wayne.
Thanks, Laura. Good morning, everybody. Oki, which is hello in Blackfeet. I am a descendant of the Blackfeet tribe in northern Montana. And I am the current director of the American Indian Vocational Rehabilitation Training and Technical Assistance Center, which is why Laura didn't say the full name because she didn't want to pass out first thing this morning. AVRTAC, as we call it, is the only technical assistance center for tribal VR programs. We provide services on grant management, service provision, and relationship building between state and tribal VR programs to all 93 projects. My background is in VR. I started out as a client with a spinal cord injury and then became a state VR counselor, tribal liaison, then a tribal VR director, and a training consultant with AVRTAC over the years. So thank you for having me, and I'm going to let Lee introduce himself real quick.
Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day. My name is Leighann Gaseoma, and I'm a member of the Hopi tribe in Arizona, and I serve as the traditional cultural liaison for AVRTAC.
Thanks, Lee. Leighann, do you want to introduce yourself, and then I'll jump into my stuff?
Okay. I'm Leighann Granados. I am an independent living specialist and an assistive technology specialist for Indigo, which is an independent living center in northern Wisconsin. We do cover the top 8 counties. And what I do mainly is I do work with a lot of tribal members with assistive technology. We do have three, just in my area, we have three tribes within a half an hour, three reservations within a half an hour of where I live.
Okay, thanks, Leanne. I'm going to jump in here and it's going to be a little technical stuff here for a minute. I'm probably going to mess this up, so hang with me. I'm going to share my screen and get my PowerPoint up. Okay, do you see the full deck now or the full screen?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. All right, so on this first slide here, you see two different colleges represented to bring the AVERTAC together. We work with Northwest Indian College. They're a partner in this. They house the Tribal Vocational Rehabilitation Institute, which is the academic side of AVERTAC. The NAU IHD, which is Institute for Human Development, houses the TAC side, where we do the hands-on implementation of the academic slides. So in October of 2021, we were awarded this 5-year cooperative agreement with RSA. And that's important to recognize that this is a cooperative agreement. It's not a grant. So RSA has a lot of input when it comes to the services that we're providing, the information that we're sharing. We've worked together closely for the last 4 years. We're in year 4 of this cooperative agreement to establish AVERTAC relationships with state agencies. And that's what I'm going to be talking a lot about today. So you heard a little bit about me. Today we're going to talk about building relationships. And I want to start out by everything shutting down. Hold on just a second. Okay, here we go. Then it jumped 3 slides at once. Okay. I want to talk about the definition of cultural and responsive training, technical assistance, and then our capacity building services. Up until this point, we never really had a full definition to support what we're doing in working with the tribal VR system. And so when we asked the state to partner and provide culturally appropriate services, there wasn't a clear understanding of what that meant. So AVERTAC staff, specifically Lee, worked with RSA to develop this definition that you see on the screen. I also provided this as a handout. Laura has that set up for sharing with links. So you can download that and have it in front of you. The uniqueness about this definition is that it allows us to really get a hold of what it means to engage somebody at a cultural level. Okay. And it's the first time that we've pulled the perspective of tribal members into service provision. So it's really important that we utilize this in the provision of services and developing those relationships. To do that, we've developed some very clear guiding principles. Now, along with these guiding principles, you got to remember that it's always changing and developing and morphing. A culture doesn't become stagnant. It's always moving and adapting to the new environment. And when we start looking at the morphing of these cultures, it's really interesting to take into account modern day influence on traditional ways. And Lee and I have had several conversations in the development of this about how we're running into this unique issue of young people no longer having the connection to their traditional and cultural ways, but wanting to have that connection and redevelop what that is. And so in our guiding principles, we're always trying to take that into account as we work with these projects. So I wanted to start out with those two things, and we're going to transition into some information now about AVERTAC. So AVERTAC supports the AVERS projects, the American Indian Vocational Rehabilitation Services projects. We call them TVR, Tribal VR. They are authorized by the Rehab Act under Section 121. They are governed by 34 CFR 371. Now, state is governed by 34 CFR 361. We are allowed to use 361 as guidance, not governance, for the tribal VR programs. So if you read the 371 regs, there's not a lot of definition or detail about service provision or what's the main components of the IPE when you develop it, all those fun things. So that's why we go to 361 for that guidance. 371 provides clear definitions of on or near reservation, the cultural differences, and how it is incorporated across the VR process. As I said earlier, we're on a 5-year cooperative agreement. TVR projects experience a 5-year competitive discretionary grant cycle. So every 5 years, all these projects compete against one another. So really, in that sense, we see a group of family members, because we call ourselves family in the AVERS world, competing against each other for their funding. Currently, we have 93 projects located in 26 states, which means we're serving around 170 different tribes. And that 170 different tribes is a rough estimate, because we do have consortiums and it's hard to just sometimes pin down an exact number. Each one of those 170 different tribes has their own culture, their own ceremonies, and their own traditional way of looking at disabilities. Okay, so this PowerPoint's not wanting to work with me very well today. Sorry about that. On the screen, you'll see a map. There's yellow states and there's blue states and there's white dots to identify the different tribal VR programs across the yellow states. And so, like I said, we have 93 projects in 26 states. So this is just a nice way to see the dispersion of projects. And we have some states that are very heavy into that, into tribal VR programs. So now I want to share a little history so you can understand the importance of the relationship that we are working on developing between TVR and AVERS, or TVR and state agencies. In 1970, Navajo Nation was able to obtain funds to start serving tribal members with disabilities. In 1975, they were awarded a 3-year establishment grant that required matched funds from the tribe. And this was with Arizona State, RSA. And what we found, why this advocacy occurred, is because our people weren't getting served in our rural and remote areas. The state didn't have the bandwidth to come out to the reservations to serve our people. They didn't understand the cultural impact, and so the relationships didn't get developed very well. So in 1975, we got the first 3-year grant. In the 1978 amendments, we were acknowledged in the Rehab Act. In 1980 to 85, Navajo Nation was the only nation to be awarded a grant to work with tribal members with disabilities. In 1985, the Northern Cheyenne and the Chippewa Cree tribes of Montana, and the funding was changed from a 3-year to a 5-year funding cycle, and a 10-point preference was allocated to those projects. Since then, that 10-point preference has been changed to a 5-point preference. In 1993, we had 14 AVERS projects. And also in 1993, the Consortium of Administrators for Native American Rehabilitation, or CANAR, was formed. Now, CANAR is very similar to the CSAVR. They're both membership-run organizations that act as advocates for the projects and agencies that they serve. Okay, so that, and up to date, like I said, we have 93 projects. The AVERS purpose. This program is designed to provide vocational rehab services, specifically culturally appropriate VR services, to American Indians and Alaska Natives with disabilities. When we talk about eligibility criteria, we've added some eligibility criteria to the tribal VR programs. They have to show residency, which means on or near federal or state reservations or the geographical traditional area. They have to identify the enrollment status of the individual. So they have to be an enrolled member of a federally or state recognized tribe. Those are the two differences that we're seeing from state eligibility criteria to tribal eligibility criteria. Other than that, the services, the intent is all the same as state VR. So I want to now branch off into the perspectives from the Native side on disability. Our Native peoples see the human being made up of body, mind, soul, and spirit. Sometimes we recognize that unwellness or illness is disharmony in those components. And really, when we start looking at the specific tribes that we're working with, some of them view that illness as a violation to a tribal custom or sacred tribal custom. And we also view it as if one of the four is out of harmony, the whole being is out of harmony. So it's all about balance and being centered in our approach. As you can see in my screen, I have a medicine wheel behind me. We really focus on that medicine wheel for a balance of life. Too much of one thing is never good because it pulls us out of balance, whether it's a negative or a positive in our life. We want it to be equal. There has to be a place where we start to balance and become centered in our life, which is really important in our daily activities, because we have a tendency to focus on a holistic model rather than the lineal model of non-native people. So when we have an appointment, let's say we schedule an appointment for Wednesday at 9. Which Wednesday? Is it 2 Wednesdays from now? Is it this Wednesday? We, as Native people, a lot of times our mind goes to when the time is right, it'll present itself to me. So it's not a scheduled appointment. And that's just an example of some of the thinking that takes place in our in our people. One of the very unique and interesting things is that most, if not all, tribes do not have a word for disability in their language. We explain and describe the disability. So if you have an amputation, you're a person without a leg, you're a person without an arm. It's not an amputation. We also have the unique standard of not recognizing having a disability. It's all part of our life. We are meant to have this. Sometimes it's viewed as a gift, sometimes it's viewed as a barrier, but it's ours. We own it. And we still have the same expectation as everybody else in our role. So as a male in my tribe, even with a spinal cord injury and being an incomplete paraplegic, I have a role to fulfill, and I'm expected to fulfill it to the best ability that I can. It doesn't matter that I have a disability. So as we go through our roles and our work and our place in our society, we help find the place for those individuals, tribal members with disabilities. And this is really where I feel that the TVR projects start to excel, because we engage in customized employment before customized employment was a term. Okay. Laura, do we have any questions yet?
This is Laura. I am not seeing any questions yet, so I think we're good.
Okay. So before I go on to the next slide, I also want to take a minute and talk about the importance of family. Okay, so when we have a person either getting married, being born, we celebrate that. If we have a person that passes and walks on, we honor them. And these things require us to do a very specific pattern in our tribes. So like for me, it's 4 days. We mourn for 4 days. The burial takes place within the 4-day period. We have a wake that's 4 days long. I'm not going to be at work for at least 12 days because traditionally I need to follow through and honor that person. And so that's one thing I always try and stress when I start talking about relationship building with employers, state partners, state VR agencies. If you put a Native person in a position where they have to choose their family, their community, their tribe over this activity, you will lose every single time. We don't veer from that. Family is very important. Another thing I want to address is eating and gift giving. Because I know in the CRCC, in the Code of Ethics, it says that we cannot accept gifts, that type of thing. In our culture, that's how we honor you. If you come to us, you share your knowledge, your experience, you help one of our people, we give you a gift and we feed you. So to refuse that is damaging to that relationship, because you're refusing to be honored and showing that gratitude. So just some things to think about that's a little different from state to tribal. Okay, so this slide is about the service delivery model, okay? When we work with tribal VR programs, one of the things we talk about is their traditional service delivery model. And we again use that medicine wheel. Again, every tribe has different colors, different placing of the colors, but they all focus under some sort of holistic model. And in this one, we have the federal requirements and the AVERS requirements that encompass the centerpiece, which is the person-centered approach to our tribal members with disabilities. So in the middle is that individual. We address the 4 spaces to balance them. so that they can remain centered. And then the federal and AVERS requirements that guide and govern their service provision are brought in to move towards employment. And as you know, with a circle, there's no beginning or end. So in our view, we can jump into this at any point. And we can go back to the beginning if we need to. We can go to the middle if we need to address the needs of that individual. Okay, so today we're talking about some very specific services and differences between the state and the tribal VR system. In our regulations, 37371.41A2, this is where it talks about culturally appropriate and responsive services. In the AVERS grant proposal, when we write the proposal, we describe and discuss how these holistic traditional healing services are going to be used, what process is used to obtain them, and how do we provide them in our communities. The participant, we have to show the respect to the AVERS participant and help them understand the holistic traditional healing services. Like I said earlier, when Lee and I were talking, we have a group of people that really want to engage in these traditional services. However, they don't understand how to ask for it. They don't understand the importance of it. They don't understand the protocol of going through ceremony. So we have to have that ability to share that information and knowledge with the participant. So when we work with state in a shared case, that's where the expertise of the tribal VR counselor comes into play. It's very important that the TVR counselor and the VR counselor meet and discuss the service provision. One, we don't want to duplicate services. Two, we want to make sure that everybody involved in this case is understanding the importance of these traditional and cultural services. Our community, becoming very familiar with the holistic traditional healing services available in the community. So when we do this, it didn't work out so hot for us when we shared our ceremonies in our traditional ways before. A lot of our stuff was stripped away from us when we shared this information, and we weren't allowed to practice our well-being in our ceremonies. So it's going to be very difficult for a state agency staff or partner to come in and know about this stuff. And on the state side, in the VR system, you're not allowed to provide this. So it's very important that we have these shared cases to bring this traditional healing to the table. As an example, we had an individual that had an amputation. It was a sudden amputation. They incinerated his leg. And when he was out of rehab and done with recovery, he went with the Navajo Nation VR to try and find employment. Now, as he was progressing through his time with the tribal VR system or project, he never was able to fully heal the stump. It would ulcer, he would get a job and he wasn't able to complete it, he wasn't able to maintain it. And so in the conversation, he identified what had happened. And at that point, the VR counselor recognized that because his leg was incinerated, fire is a very bad thing for a lot of Native people. And we don't ever cremate or incinerate our body pieces. So that individual spoke with participant, that counselor spoke with a participant about the ceremony to address what had happened and to make it right, and so that he became balanced again. It was a ceremony that occurred 3 times before completion. After the 3rd time, and he completed the ceremony, his stump healed and never gave him any issue after that. They were able to place him, and he was able to maintain and close successfully employed. So that's an example of how our traditional healing services and our cultural ways can really help an individual. This is an example of how you'd see it in an IPE. So again, we have all of the different services. We have transportation, housing, food, tutoring. And at the bottom here, you'll see traditional healing, 3 sessions for 9 months. The vendor is going to be a healer, medicine man or medicine woman, whatever it's called in your area. We have the dollar amount, and we have the beginning and end date. Now, the one thing that you won't see here, okay, is we never identify what that traditional healing service is, because it is a ceremony and it's traditional and sacred. We don't share that information. In RSA, the traditional healing category, service category, identifies enough that they don't need the written justification of what that ceremony is. Okay. And so here's some justifications. You explain it in your case notes how the use of the traditional healing services will address the barriers to employment. We take a look at, you can always fall back on the project's policy and procedures. It's included in the IPE, and as we know, as we go through the IPE, that it's an agreement, and we have to provide what services are there. At case closure, we can also provide another explanation in the case notes how this healing helped them or was able to help that maintain employment. And then, of course, we always want to celebrate the participant's successful outcome. That's something that a lot of times I don't think we see across in state agencies. We will honor that individual in tribal VR, where when I was a state employee, we're like, hey, good job, slam the door, right? Like that was how we celebrated your employment outcome. Is we told you we were closing your case. Good job, we're closing your case. Hey, if you ever need us, come back. So it's so important that we continue to revitalize and use in the use of our traditional native practices. You know, we're able to pull the input from the American Indian, Alaska Natives with disability, their communities, project directors, advocates, the staff themselves. Leads a group called the Wisdom Keepers, and we're pulling all this information together to guide and move us forward with best practices on traditional and cultural appropriate service provision and traditional healing services. It allows us to really enhance and recognize the project staff in their tribal identity. You know, when we talk about a lot of cultural appropriate services, it starts with the team, with our people that are in those seats. Do you offer a drink when they come in? Do you offer a smudge when they come into the office? Those type of things. The sharing of our knowledge is very important. In order for us to continue to move forward in serving our people, we need to connect with the many different minds, right? So we have the tribal side, we have the state agency, we have the CRPs, community rehab providers, we have independent living advocates, all those different service providers and stakeholders come together. And we want to be able to brainstorm as we move into the newer era of VR. Like I said before, our cultures are always evolving, always moving and changing. It's never holding still, and neither is VR. Disabilities across, just by the nature across all people, are different. How my spinal cord injury affects me is different than how it affects another person. So getting all of us together to work towards developing this VR nation is really important. All right, so this is my contact information, which Lori will share later. There's the 2 websites that we have. And I want to thank you for this time. I would also like to open up for any questions, if there's questions.
Thank you, Wayne. I think some of your examples were really brought it home. Um, I really appreciated the example of the natural healing. I remember in several of the cases that I worked with providing assistive technology, um, that individual was working with not only the state VR, but with tribal VR. And so the three service providers working with the individual, and I remember that being added to the plan for employment for several individuals that we served. Um, and I remember the first time that I saw that on there, I was like, oh, I was actually surprised that it got written into the plan, to be honest. So I think that's a really worthwhile example, especially given kind of our audience today, some VR, but also our managed care organizations, which uses long-term care funding to keep people independent, and as healthy as they can be. So I think that specific example was really, really valuable for that. Um, so yeah, that's great. Lee, did you have anything you wanted to share?
What I can add to what Wayne has shared with you is that each tribal VR program is assigned a RSA program officer so that they can work together to carry out the 5-year TVR grant proposal. I believe what is also important to share is that each tribe will designate their service area for eligible participants who reside on or near the federal and state reservation. What I believe is also important is that developing the MOU with the state VR agency is a requirement according to the 371 regulation, and it's called the special application requirements. I understand that the state VR agency may have been informed by the existing program or eligible program about their plans in submitting their 5-year grant proposal, so that when it is time to develop the MOU between both agency, there is no surprise. The MOU will describe the terms and conditions that each agency will contribute to the MOU. I understand that some tribal voc rehab programs will make it a point to conduct a orientation for the state agency as well as key stakeholders who will be a part of the TVR grant proposal. In regards to the regulation that Wayne referenced, I want to add that I look at that regulation as having 2 points. The first is the AVERS programs, unlike the state VR agencies, are permitted to provide services that reflect the cultural background of the participant, including the use of traditional healers as noted by the Tribal Vocational Rehabilitation Program. What we have learned is that many of the tribes do not have a word for disability. It's more of a description. In my Hopi tribe, in talking with certain elders and leaders, including the program staff on the Hopi reservation, they too have informed me that the Hopi tribe doesn't necessarily have a specific word or description for disability. And in seeking the assistance of traditional healers, the traditional healers in their diagnosis and prognosis may offer a different interpretation regarding the individual's disability, which may differ from just the attempt to identify the mental and physical disability that is a barrier or impediment to employment. Sometimes the traditional healer's interpretation will differ. However, what I have learned that tribal participants need this type of interpretation as a way to start accepting their disability and its limitation in seeking employment. So the TVR counselor is made aware whether or not the participants will be requesting these particular services. And through the informed choice of the participants, specific VR services will be identified. If a state VR agency or any other disability-related entity are a part of this service plan, should the individual exit the program as a successful employment outcome, all agencies will use the successful employment in reporting their employment outcome for the grant period.
Lee, will you also talk about the work that you've done with AT3?
All right. For the past year, we have partnered with Marty Etwine and Kim at the AT3 Center and have provided online webinar for both the 56 state AT centers as well as the Tribal Vocational Rehabilitation Program as a way to bridge the gap regarding the use of AT services that is available to the tribal individuals with disability. The AT3 staff have also attended the KNAR annual conference to conduct a breakout session to provide more detailed information as to what the state AT center services can provide in partnership with a TVR program. I would have to say that both agencies' participation in the online webinar was pretty low in terms of the numbers. However, it has been shared with us that the AT3 Center's presentation at the KNAR conference drew a lot of attendees, and there was a way to start connecting with the TVR program. So we would like to pursue that idea to include both agencies to sit at the same table and to start sharing how they can partner with each other to ensure that tribal members with disabilities are using AT services as part of their comfortable benefits and services, and to assist with the rehabilitation costs for tribal members.
Thanks, Lee. So just to add real quick, the MOU is vital in developing these relationships because it does show the compatibility and the collaborative effort of both the tribal VR and the state VR systems. And as Lee was saying, it's a great way to identify the training needs for both state and tribal VR. In our areas, with the majority of our tribal VR programs, we don't have the specialized services such as deaf, hard of hearing, blind and low vision, and then the specialized significant or severely mental ill services. So like schizophrenia, that type of level of mental health issues. We don't have those supports or that expertise in the majority of our TVR projects. So it's really important to partner with our state agencies that have that experience and their partners that can bring that education out to us. At the same time, it's not just a one-way path, right? So I know each state has a 15% set aside for the pre-ETs. A lot of states are struggling to meet that 15% in spend down. They usually have carryover. The tribal VR projects all have connection to the tribal schools, and they aren't allowed to provide pre-ETs. They can only provide transition services. So you can develop these programs with the tribal VR project in the tribal schools in your state to get those services. So again, that give and take in that relationship is vital. I saw a question in here about when ending services, how do you celebrate? A lot of times that we do a feed, we'll put on a feed for that individual, which means the staff will cook food and then they're invited to come eat with us, their family. Maybe we'll buy them a traditional gift such as a blanket or a food basket, that type of thing. That's how that's celebrated. Lee, do you have anything to add?
I would add that some of the tribal vocational rehabilitation programs are aware that if the tribe is still honoring traditional leadership, they need to inform the traditional leadership of their plans to seek federal funds so that they will provide the guidance and or instructions as to what they would like to see in the provision of culturally appropriate services. I would also share that this occurred with one of the pueblos in New Mexico, that on our first on-site visit to provide intensive technical assistance, the tribal leadership was invited to be a part of our meeting. They did show up and did inform us that because tribal leadership changes every year, the TVR program need to be made aware what a particular leadership's vision and mission may be, and to include them in the TVR activities. I believe that's an important information for the AT centers to consider when they reach out to the TVR programs or are making plans to go on the reservation to present and or offer their services.
And this is Laura. Thank you for sharing that additional information, especially about the celebrations. I think that's really important. Yeah, because we think about it, you just say, "Oh, look, you got a job. Now your case is closed." That's pretty, cut and dry. So, you spend all those years or that time developing a relationship with the person you're working with, and then, it's to me, is kind of dismissive. That practice of, oh, you're closed, you're done. And we did that, even within our independent living services. Yeah, you reached your goals, but now we're done, and I just wanted to share, I feel very fortunate that early in my work with assistive technology in Wisconsin, our tribal VR had a very close relationship. I mean, our state VR had a very close relationship with our Lukudure tribe out of the Hayward area. And so we were able to work with the tribe for many years, just doing an assistive technology event, like a fair, where we brought in vendors, we brought in technology. So tribal members had, an on-site opportunity to stop by and meet people that are working with assistive technology, which then led to the work that I was able to do by actually, meeting with tribal members, providing the AT services, and coordinating that with both state and tribal VR. I've always really valued that experience and feel fortunate that we had that close relationship to do those AT fairs on site. And it allowed me the opportunity to learn more about the tribal cultures of work by working that much closer with the Lukudure tribe. So, and thank you, Wayne and Lee, for your insights. I think we will transition over to Leighann, and then we'll also have some more time for questions as we move forward. So take it away, Leighann. Look forward to hearing about hands-on.
Let me see if I can share my screen properly now.
Sounds good.
All right.
Looks good.
All right, perfect. So my name is Leighann Granados, and I work for Indigo, an independent living center in northern Wisconsin. I'm the assistive technology specialist, and I'm also an independent living specialist. We do work with a lot of the tribal communities. So today, just kind of going to talk about how we can build trust and using assistive technology with that as well. It's more, about like relationships, or it's about relationships, respect, and working in a way that truly supports the people that we serve. Uh, so, oh, hang on, it's not, oh, there we go. Okay. So what does trust building look like? So show up when you say you will, listen more than you talk. Sometimes people have a lot to say, and sometimes people that come in from, off reservation just want to talk, and they want to talk as well. So just listen more than you talk and be okay with silence. Sometimes just silence is a sign of respect. Um, Build relationships before offering services, and then respect and understand the tribal culture. Invest in learning and not assuming. So, like when we talk about trust building in tribal communities, it's really about our actions. It means showing up when you say you will, listening more than you talk, and being okay with silence. Trust isn't built in a day, and it takes time. Sometimes the first meeting is just a conversation, or sharing a meal. And, like, especially when appropriate, such as like a community feast. And then, and that's okay. And then services come later. What matters is showing respect and patience from the start. Um, and then what should providers stop doing? Stop rushing and trying to complete services in one visit. I know a lot of us are busy and we have a lot going on, but it is really important to show respect and not rushing. And then don't treat people like a checklist. And I think, this is not just tribal communities as well as just people in consumers in general, but um, don't assume, ask, and then listen, and then slow down and build the trust first. One of the biggest mistakes is when providers come in and they just try to rush through everything. Like clipboards, checklists, trying to solve it all in one visit. Um, that that doesn't work. People need to feel seen and not processed. So we have to slow down, stop assuming we know what someone needs and ask, and then really just listen to their answers. Um, Another thing is involving families and elders, involve the people important to the consumer. Families, elders, caregivers, um, you know, maybe somebody in like the council that they would like there, meet where they're comfortable. Grandma's house, maybe the senior meal center. I know like when I go, sometimes we meet like in the casino, um, like dining area. Because that's where that's where my consumer is comfortable. Use plain language in conversation and focus on inclusion. In tribal communities, the person doesn't always make decisions alone. Families, elders in the community often play a huge role. So that might mean, like I said, meeting at grandma's house or looping in a tribal health worker. We should always explain things in plain language and use conversations, not just paperwork. It's about inclusion and not just getting a signature. There's, barriers. So barrier one, mistrust of programs. Many Native communities have experienced programs that have made promises and didn't follow through, which creates mistrust. And it's not personal, it's historical. So we can't walk in expecting trust. We have to earn it by being consistent, honest, and honoring every commitment we make, big or small. And then sometimes even just showing up without a formal agenda, just kind of a visit. And then another barrier is geography and technical gaps, especially, in our area, the rural remote locations is limited transportation and internet. I know, a lot of places I go to, I do like to use my phone to show like different, um, assistive technology things that may work. In some places I go to, there is no internet. There's also, very few nearby assistive technology experts. Like for me, the area that I work in, um, like an hour away is one of the tribes. So, and that's the closest that the closest, sorry, the furthest away for me is an hour. Um, And then a lot of tribal communities are in remote areas and transportation can be unreliable. Um, we need to be creative and bring services to them, like maybe, mobile clinics, in-home visits, or by partnering with trusted tribal staff who are already in the community. Um, Barrier 3, this is the big one, is too many systems, tribal, state, and federal rules. They're, you know, cause a lot of confusion. Agencies don't always coordinate. People fall through the cracks. You just walk beside them and don't just give them a flyer. Um, Part of our job is, just not just to hand them a brochure, but be a support and help them navigate the process. And then, final thoughts is building trust is a process, not a one-time event. Um, it's not a checkbox, it takes showing up, listening, and being a respectful partner. Assistive technology has the power to change lives, but only if it's delivered in a way that honors culture, builds trust, and supports independence. Um, and then I do have just a little, like real life story. An elder couldn't leave her house independently. She was a wheelchair user and she had a ramp installed, but the threshold at the door was too high, so she couldn't get in and out safely. So her husband had to help her, and he's also elder. So when she wanted to go somewhere, they would have to call people to come in. So we brought a threshold ramp to her to try out, and it involved, her husband, her daughter, one of her healthcare workers, and we just all met and came up with a plan, brought the threshold ramp for her to try. It worked for her. They were able to order one, and now she's can leave her home, and attend community events and independent again. And now, I see her every once in a while and she's like, I'm always telling people to call that girl that helped me. Um, and then just here's my contact information. And if there's any questions, I think I'm done.
And please feel free to put any question. And Sandy, can you go ahead and pop your question, or I can try to unmute you, Sandy, if you'd like. We'll see if that works.
And then I'll stop sharing because I can't. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I can't. Sandy, I'm not seeing you in the list of participants. But I know you're here. There we go. You popped up to the top. Yeah, I don't know that I can unmute you based on their platform. So if you wouldn't mind putting your question in the chat, Sandy, that'd be great. It's a long question. Yeah, if I could unmute you, Sandy, I would. Oh, wait, I can now do it. It's like you did pop up. All right.
You can.
Okay, now can you hear me?
I can, Sandy. There you go.
Yay. Leanne,
Yay.
hi. Sandy Pop, I'm from Options for Independent Living in Green Bay. Thanks, Laura, for bringing this out. So we've had a focus on our tribes in our area. We have four of them for the last couple years and 3, 4 years. I mean, we've done things with them always, but now we've really made a concerted effort. So we have these classes, technology classes that we have been having a huge success with bringing to our those that are aging on how to use your cell phones, your echo shows, all of that kind of stuff to the greatest advantage to decrease isolation and to bring about better conversation in the community and actually then peer support by bringing these individuals together. Then they peer support each other during class time. It's really great. We've been very successful with the Stockbridge Munchie tribe and very successful with Oneida. But it was like pulling teeth at first, but then the minute they saw the classes and people were in it, then they asked for more classes and asked for more classes. So it's like a 4 week class, and we have done everything to get to Menominee and to get to who's our other one, Ho Chunk, and just have had, I mean, they just sound interested when we're telling them what it's all about, and it's really great and how we've worked with other tribes and they've loved it. And then it goes nowhere. They never call us back again. So then we call again, same thing. Oh, that sounds great. Let's do it. Yeah. Let me figure some things out and I'll call you back and never hear from them. So we'd really like, because Menominee is a big tribe. I mean, they're a big county, and we do a fair there every year. And then, of course, try to serve as many consumers as possible. We also do a fair with Ho Chunk. But, and we're talking with human services, we're talking with um, the aging, we're talking with anybody that'll listen to us and just don't get a response. So I'm wondering how easy it was for you to tap into that, because I know you have many tribes up by you also.
So I guess my situation is a little bit unique because I and my brother is a tribal member. I also worked at the tribe in Red Cliff for like
Got
4 or 5
it.
years. So and then I went to school, in Ashland with a lot of tribal members who are now sitting in those seats.
Okay.
So mine is a little bit unique because I do know people,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's all you have to know somebody kind of to maybe get in because of the
No.
mistrust.
No, I totally get that because we did some things with VR in those areas also. Um, but it's hit and miss because if we people don't call us, then we don't get the consumer referrals. So then we go back again, and we're always talking to human services. We're always talking to the aging units, but we're not actually talking to the people except at those fairs. And because they don't know us, and human services and like aging units aren't referring, they don't know enough to trust us. So,
And
Yeah.
also, I do work with some of our iris consultants,
oh, that's a good
who,
idea.
have tribal members. So that's kind of how I've been able to, um, get meeting with consumers.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Um, yeah. Laura, you want to say something?
I did, yeah. I know you can read my facial expressions since we've known each other forever. Just,
Exactly.
and I will ask Wayne and Lee if they've got some insights. But one of just the keyword, I just put it in the chat that I heard you talking, and I know that this isn't literal, because I know
Right.
you so well, but talking to, not with. You know
Because
what
we
I
never
mean?
get
So,
the chance to talk with. We'd love
yeah.
to. Yes.
But, and even just when you're reaching out to maybe say, instead of, I'd like to talk to you about this, I'd like to talk with.
With you. Okay.
Just
Absolutely
a,
can try
it's
that.
a small semantics.
It is.
Um,
It is, but that's wonderful.
Kind of like
So
in the IL movement, we work with people, not for them.
Right. Right. Yep. You are right. Yeah. That's really a good way to put it. I get that. So I appreciate that little tag there. Um, yeah. I think it's wonderful. And Lee and Wayne, I don't mean to disclude you. Leann's in our area, so she's more familiar with the tribal complexities here. But I appreciated all the wisdom you guys had today. So
So one thing that I would add to that, Sandy, I don't know if you guys have been able to do this, but to engage in the tribal disability fairs that take place,
yeah.
um, getting out there. And then one of the other things that I always encourage people to do is go out and hit the vendors, be
No.
seen in the community. That's one of the biggest issues you're going to be running into is, yeah, we're going to always say, oh man, this is awesome. I'd love to talk to you. But if we don't see you investing in us, we aren't
Yeah.
going to return that.
Yeah, that's really a good idea. We do a lot of Menominee. They just don't have a lot at Ho Chunk. And so we get out to all of our tribes every year. Um, but I think we just need to be, like you said, more visible, Wayne. That's a good idea.
And Sandy, in the chat box, it's lighting up. We've got some tribal VR folks on here. We've got Karen Johnson from Verna or Glitzy, Terry Kahn from Menominee. Uh,
Oh,
so Verna is Ho Chunk. Um, so if you want to reach out to Kim Milik, she's the director for Verna. Karen's on here now. You could probably Karen loves to talk. Just saying. Sorry, Karen, threw you under the bus.
So
and
those are,
Terry Khan, it looks like for
Oh, yeah.
Menominee.
She's
yeah,
working for
those are some
Oneida.
great
Sorry,
suggestions.
Terry. I mixed up those two programs.
Those are some
Oh,
great,
Terry Khan, yeah.
great
Oneida
connections
loves
being made.
us. So yeah. Yeah, we work a lot with Oneida just because it's just so close, but they are here all the time. But we try to get to those fairs, but you're right, having those contact people is very important. Those aren't the names that I talk to in at Ho Chunk, so that's a good one. And it's Kim Malak in Ho Chunk. Is that who I'm looking at? Where am I
Yeah,
finding?
Milik.
Kim Malik?
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Thank you. And
Um,
then,
And I do see one other question in here, and um, from Madison saying, "How do you overcome the barriers of transportation and limited access to internet?" And I know someone put in some internet resources, and I do spend. It's interesting. Every state's view of remote varies, based on our own personal experiences of where we're located geographically, and so. I've traveled quite a bit in the west area of our country and realized, Wisconsin is rural. We have lots of pockets without internet, but there's way more rural out there, and it's not a comparison or trying to, one up somebody by saying, well, we have less internet than you. Um, but just having spent a week in Nevada where my phone was on SOS the whole time. So I'm hoping maybe Wayne and Lee might have something to also share on the transportation and internet, just given your experience nationally with these rural pockets.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things is we work with rural and remote. And there's a very clear difference between rural and remote. Like most of the lower 48 is rural. Um, there's some pockets of remote in the tribal VR projects that we work with. Uh, we don't really see that until we get up to Alaska. Then we start to see remote, where there's only one form of transportation in or out to the villages. So the transportation issue is across all projects that we work with, whether it's a public system or it's an airplane or a snow machine or a boat. It we all That's one of the things that we see always brought up over and over and over. So one of the things that we have seen, some tribal VR projects will bring up a position to RSA and get it approved. And that position is a TVR tech, or it can be an assistant, but their primary job is to transport people. So they can spend funds on a vehicle for project, and then that person picks up people and brings them in. We'll go out and pick up a group of people, bring them into an appointment. There's that opportunity. Other than that, there's grants. Every state has a transportation grant for that, for the transportation infrastructure. You can always apply for that. There's some tribes that have a tribal transportation bus. A lot of times what we've seen is people piggybacking on like the diabetes program or the diabetic program. They have a transportation available for that person to go back and forth to the clinic. And when it's not being used to transport people for dialysis, they will lease it out to run people for appointments. Just a lot of different opportunities if you look for them. One of the big ones, and this is a great one because you can actually get successful outcomes out of it, is help somebody start a small business of being a taxi driver.
And this is Laura, and that's an opportunity where if someone looking to start their own business could look into a telework grant. As well as our state Department of Transportation in Wisconsin does have grants for non-emergency medical transportation providers. I don't know the specific details, but I can try to look, while there's other questions, I can try to look for that resource potentially. But I do know that there are provider grants out there as well to assist with the non-emergency transportation startups. And telework would be an ideal opportunity. I know our state has fielded one telework application for someone looking to start non-emergency medical transportation.
And then I'll just want to just touch a little bit on the internet, service, not having internet service. Sometimes it's kind of just about knowing what you're going to talk about and maybe downloading it and having it ready to go on a computer or on your phone, because sometimes you can't, no matter where you're at, you're not going to get any internet service, or meeting someplace public that has internet, if that's an option.
Thank you, Leighann. I have an interest. It was not a tribal member. I will share that. But I worked with a very rural family who was not comfortable with having me in their home. They were very private. This person also had, I think, literally 40 cats. So I didn't necessarily want to go in, and I'm not even making that up. It literally was that many. So this individual, I said, I have things I need to plug in, when I'm there to demonstrate to you for assistive technology. And so he literally set up a picnic table under a shade tree and ran electricity all the way out into the yard so that we could do that, so we communicated. So sometimes we just have to be a little creative, and sometimes it's the individuals we're working with that can come up with that creativity to help solve the problem. And I was just as happy not to be inside a house. I love cats, but not 40 at one time. It's a little much. So, all right. Thanks, Heidi. So I did want a quick share. We've certainly got time for some more questions. We may be wrapping early today, but I wanted to share some Wisconsin resources regarding just tribal education, tribal information. And I'm going to start with, it's actually from our Department of Public Instruction. And Karen and others from some of our tribes here in Wisconsin, I can try my magic unmute that somehow I got to work. If you're welcome to chime in as well. And I will put this link into the chat. But on the screen on this website is a visual representation of the tribal entities that are here in Wisconsin. And there's a note that the Brothertown Indian Nations is included, but it is not a federal or state recognized tribal nation. But on the state, here's just an image of where each of these tribal entities is located. And then following this, I just have to move some stuff. hang on, sorry. I need to change to the other window. And so from that webpage, we can also get to another site. Here we go. And again, I'll put these in the chat. The Wisconsin First Nations is designed really for K through 12 education. But what it does is, again, it has that map, and it also has live links to some video resources to learn more, links for educators. I've certainly taken advantage of these learning opportunities myself as a service provider. And then there's links to each of the individual tribal entities. So I would encourage those here in Wisconsin to go ahead and explore some of those resources, maybe bookmark it so that you can come back to it and learn a little bit more about each of the tribes that is represented here in our state. And with that, are there any other questions that anyone would like to ask? Otherwise, I'm very happy that we were able to bring this topic to the WisTech webinar today. And I do hope that it will provide greater linkages between not only VR services, but our long-term care services, our independent living, as well as assistive technology to increase access for everyone, but especially for our tribal members with disabilities. Any closing comments or thoughts, Wayne, Lee, or Leighann?
You know, the only thing that I would add is to remember that the tribal VR director is equivalent to the state agency director. A lot of times they get looked at as lower status, and we're equal status, director to director, very much like government to government conversations. The relationship can be built. It can be positive. Wisconsin's showing that. They have a great relationship with their tribal VR system. We just need to remember that historical trauma, historical mistrust plays a big role in our relationship. Over the years, when we've shared our knowledge and experience from a tribal perspective, it gets used against us. So again, going back to like Sandy's question of how do we get that done, it's through consistency, showing up, being present, having your face out there. And a lot of times state agencies struggle with that. State and their partner agencies struggle with that because of budgets, time restraints, that type of thing. But being in the community is how you're going to develop those relationships. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. Great point.
I can add to the conversation by saying, as a recommendation, that prior to your initial visit to a tribal reservation, that perhaps you take some time to determine whether or not a tribe has a website, so that you can review the tribal history, the current government, valuable resources. And I always find it helpful to find newsletter for the tribal communities that will provide services for upcoming cultural activities, including a direct link to the tribal VR program. I understand that some TVR programs also provide office space for the state VR agency, and perhaps at your request, they can schedule you in and to utilize the office space designated for outside entities. I believe Wayne may have shared that on our Avertech website, you will notice different links to different resources that we have, including posting of our monthly webinars on different topics. You can go back and review the webinars depending on your topic interest. I also want to share that the Northwest Indian College, located in Bellingham, Washington, does provide courses. And if you complete the 13 courses, you are awarded a certificate of completion. And they now offer a bachelor's program for individuals who may pursue that route. And the last thing is a shout out to the KNAR organization is that you are certainly welcome to become a member of KNAR so that you can be included in their listserv as well as notification regarding their annual and mid-year conferences. Thank you.
That I'm muted. All right. So thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. Again, this has been recorded and will be on the WisTech YouTube channel. It usually takes a week or two for me to get that up and live. And you will see a survey pop up at the conclusion of the webinar. Feel free to complete it at that time. Or if you have to run off, you will get an email with that survey link again tomorrow. You only need to complete it once. If you want CRCs and CEU credit, it is a requirement that you do the survey because we have some learning questions. And other than that, thank you for attending. Our next two webinars will be not until September. So I hope to see everyone back for those, and have a great rest of your week, everybody. And thank you, Wayne, Lee, and Leighann. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.